Okay, so thanks everybody for coming on and for investing in the book. I just wanted to run over the book. A lot of people have been asking me questions about the sequence and the order that I've put the exercises in the book, and there was a reason for that. Most personal development workshops or workbooks usually start with goal setting. So if somebody asks you where you want to go in life or what aspirations you have, it depends on how you really feel at that moment and your self-perception, your perception on your own abilities in life, your own resources, and even your self-worth. Are you worth having the goal? And that, especially on an unconscious level, that will make a big difference in your progress, whether it's for career, sport, or just life in general. So I wanted to start it with the great process, which is something I put together myself. It actually came about one day that I was desperate to change people's state, because like most therapists, people only come to see you when they have a problem. And how do you know you have a problem? It feels like a problem. It's your state, the state that's running through your nervous system. So this one day I was very desperate to change state. It was for 10 women in a very dark place. And I threw everything, all my resources, all my skills at the board. And that's just the way I work. If something's not getting a result, try something else. If that's not working, try something else. There's no such thing as failure. We tend to believe that as we get older, which really comes from fear of other people's opinions of our outcome. But if you can get back into that child mind, the child mode of there's only results, there's feedback, but there's no failure, then we tend to keep at things and we get results. In the same way that we did it when we were children and we mastered thousands of skills and overcame many obstacles. So the great process itself, it's the most powerful exercise that I have devised. And that's because it has a great influence on the unconscious mind. And as you've seen in the book, the letters spell the word great of the process. So the G was for gratitude, which is a very, very powerful emotion. And there's been lots of science on this, thank God, because we hear for years. Even my grandmother used to say to me, count your blessings every day. And it just went over your head. But thanks to the Heart Math Association, they've put the science behind this. What is actually happening inside when you focus on gratitude and how this coherence starts to evolve in the body, where everything is working in harmony. It's quite simple to do. The evidence is there that it will improve your health, your analytical capabilities, and your results in life. So that's why that was the first thing that I put in. The R was your resources. We tend to take for granted the amount of resources that we've accumulated as human beings, the amount of skills that we have practiced and just take for granted. Society has programmed us to make out that, you know, it's only an achievement if it's something big. You're only an expert or a master if you're put up there on a pedestal and you're noticed by everybody else. Whereas we have thousands of resources that we take for granted. But when you remind yourself of your resources, and a lot of your resources would be in the category of resilience, overcoming obstacles and developing solutions for daily problems. When you actually focus on them, you tend to reinstall that feeling of self-belief. You're getting that evidence that you are a resourceful individual and that the vehicle that carries you about your body is phenomenal. And that's why these are practiced in the mirror, because my idea behind the book was on the exercise that you build these powerful feelings with your own reflection, because unconscious habit We all get out of bed, we go straight to the bathroom, we look in the mirror, and we just look for things that we want to change, or we feel flat when we look at ourselves. There's no feelings of inspiration when you see your own reflection. There's no feelings of power, which there should be. And that's why the exercises are done in front of the mirror. And it's done in the bathroom every morning, because you're there every single morning. You can practice it as many times as you want through the day, but first thing in the morning, start your day as you mean to go on, with a powerful state. So after your resources, then you're starting to access what's going on as you're thinking about these first two stages. So you're still looking at your reflection, and the emotion, which is energy in motion through the autonomic nervous system. It starts to bring itself up. You're going into higher vibrations, the feelings that are connected to the brain, telling the brain that, okay, I am capable and I'm very powerful. And that's all anchored. You have a neuro association with your own reflection. So you can take that on further. You can take each stage of this deeper and deeper. The A is for the affirmations. There's thousands of books on affirmations. People teach affirmations. Even some of my old teachers taught affirmations, but they teach them on their own and they don't work. Even I have a book there from 1920 on the old surgeons who practiced hypnosis. They made hypnosis famous before they could anesthetize people properly. They used hypnosis for it. And there was a famous school in France that taught hypnotherapy to doctors and surgeons. And they used affirmation repetitively over and over and over and over and over again. With some people, it'll work depending on who's given the affirmations. If they're in a place of authority and that individual's perception on the authority. But most of us, especially if we're doing it ourselves, if you're just stating an affirmation and the feeling doesn't match it, it won't sink in on an unconscious level. It's not a belief. Okay, the conscious mind is active and it knows it's not true because the feeling doesn't match it. And that's why it's always been the third part of any program that I run, whether it's corporate or musicians, dancers, athletes. It's always the third, because it happens automatically. Because when you have a feeling or any type of emotion, it automatically is giving a message to you what is going on in that given moment. If I'm feeling fear in my system, the affirmation going on in my head is back off and be careful, there's danger. So it's always, even if it's a basic feeling of heat, your body's overheating, the affirmation in your head will be, open the window, cool down. If it's a basic feeling where you're getting too cold, the affirmation that starts automatically is turn the heating on or put your coat on. Yeah. So it's an automatic process. But why are people still saying, oh, just do the affirmation? Because they're rewriting each other's books. Yeah. You need to go into this work and discover things yourself. And that just comes with practice, nothing else. You know, there's no shortcut, there's no magic pill, it's all practice. So the affirmations tie all these feelings together that you've put in the mirror. And then you train it. That's what the T is for. Give it time, practice it. Don't just read the book once, put it in the bookshelf where it looks nice. Go over it, scribble on it, mind map it, highlight it, and practice, practice, practice. After you've practiced it, maybe 100 times, practice it another 100 times. And you'll notice at the end of it, you affirm your name. When you've brought the powerful emotions in. When you've done the mirror exercise, you feel as if you could run through the wall if you've done it right. And then you affirm your name at the end of your affirmations. So when you're introducing yourself in life, or somebody mentions your name, these feelings should be associated with it. Okay? It's something simple, you know, it should be taught in schools to every child. It's very simple. We don't grow up with these things, but we should. So then we looked at self-discovery after that process. Self-discovery is very important, because if you don't discover who you are and as many things about you as possible, so that you build this self-perception through your self-knowledge and a good self-esteem, then if you neglect that, you're leaving it up to everybody else in society to put their perception on who they think you are or who they think you should be. And that's dangerous, because in reality, some people like us, some people think we're great, and some people don't like us, we're not their cup of tea. But you have to get to the point where if you like me, that's great. If you don't like me, sorry, you have to deal with it, because I like me and I can't be everything for everybody. That's an internal self-esteem that cannot be taken away from you. You'll see this a lot in teenagers crying out for acceptance, but that comes from them wanting to be safe. They want to find their peer group, and there's safety in numbers. Nobody likes to be on their own, or the thought of being neglected by their peer groups. So again, it's just natural. Okay? So self-discovery is something that you can practice a lot. You'll keep learning new things about yourself, and look at the stuff that, look at the nitty-gritty stuff that you should be changing as well. We tend not to look at that too much, or we don't listen when it's advised that we should change certain habits. But it's part of the process. You have to take the good with the bad. So the emotions, looking at the emotional intelligence is part of self-discovery as well. It's not in the book because it could take up a whole book if I was to write something on that. But that's something you can look at yourself. Some of these exercises, like most people who will dip into personal development or have went to somebody for personal development, even a one-day program, it's just really to put seeds in them so that they can have this urge to water them and discover more. And you'll find most people who get into the field have been helped in some way by personal development. So we went on then in the book to reducing stress, which again, there's been a lot of scientific studies done on stress. Hans Sell, the endocrinologist and leading authority in the world on stress research, is probably the best known. And he publicized every year that it's probably the #1 killer in the Western world, because it slowly suppresses the immune system. When you have high levels, when your stress goes into the red, the body stops producing white blood cells, your helper and killer cells. So, but under stress, we tend not to operate as well. It affects all the functions. So reducing stress, weeding out the garden, because that's what we're doing here. We're implanting new seeds for growth, for self-growth. So if you want to plant anything in a garden, there's no point in doing that unless you've weeded out the garden. So reducing stress, and there's exercises for reversing negative thought patterns, old negative memories. That's just weeding out the garden. It has to be done. There's no point in putting new stuff in if you haven't took that out. Then we went on to goals, looking at goals. So you've weeded out the garden, you've got these new state changes to empower yourself, and then look at where do I want to go now? Because we all have to have these goals set out in front of us. It's how we develop as humans, but when we're younger, it's usually school teachers, parents, peers set the goal out for us. Even if you look back to when you were learning to crawl, somebody put a teddy bear or a toy in front of you to get you the urge to move, to struggle, to move forward for growth. And then you get that sense of acceptance and appreciation. Everybody claps. Thing is, when you get older, nobody does that. So you have to give yourself that round of applause, that pat on the back, because we have to set them out. Again, I have the SMART goals in the book, keep them small, measured, attainable, result-based, and time-based. But it's more important to have big goals that you might never reach that make you feel excited. Because emotion gives you emotion. You know, set the big ones, have the big dreams. You don't have to share them with people who's going to laugh at you and put you off them. But as long as you have them, it gives you a reason to get up and keep going, keep moving forward, especially in your bad days, which you'll not have anymore because now you have the great process, by the way. So another important thing, and I have in the book, is values. When you're setting goals, they must match your values, because if they don't match your values, say somebody's a big goal set, but one of their strong values is family and keeping the family happy and content. Maybe the family doesn't want them moving on. Maybe this person has aspirations of moving to another country and the opportunities there, and they've all the resources, but the family's not happy about it. So there's that tug of war going on inside, because your values are deep-seated. They're sitting at an unconscious level. If you go against somebody's values, it's very, very upsetting to them. Very upsetting. So understanding your value, what you value as an individual, and does that match these goals that you've set out in front of you? That's very, very important. They have to be aligned. And that's why a lot of goals don't work that people set out in the new year. Every new year we hear of people setting goals or just going for goals that everybody else has set. They haven't took the time to power up and analyze and match them with their values and decide and even make a proper plan towards that goal. Make it time-based. So the goals have to match the values. Then we went on to visualization. Visualization is well known as, for again, a lot of scientific studies on it, especially in sport now. The first ones I read was, maybe I used to get a sports science magazine about 23 years ago. I used to order it. It was a subscription. And the first program I read was the German diving team, Olympic diving team. And after 2 weeks of just visualization, after they'd scored them on diving and then took them into the pool, away from the pool for 2 weeks, got them to do the proper visualization, which is set out in the book there. They all put 2 points on their maximum score. They hadn't been near the pool. The Russian gymnastics teams use it as well. I've been using it for years, especially with professional and top amateur dancers and musicians and that. But it's something we're always using anyhow. But if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling small and you're visualizing the future, it's not going to look too good, because this is your projector seat. So that's, again, before you go into your visualizations, and I said, set out the submodalities, bringing in your hearing, your smell, touch, everything, make it very real to the subconscious mind, which is 88% of your total mind. That's the real driver, not this analytical mind. So putting that in, but powering up and knowing why you're going into that state, reminding yourself specifically why I'm going to do this visualization and what your outcome should be. You just don't go in there to daydream. So make it specific. After visualization exercises, then we looked at, again, a process I put together years ago, and it was working with children actually got me to come up with this. The P's of success. When I first began teaching this 20 years ago, I only had 3. I think it was practice and persistence and something else, can't remember. But every workshop I ran around England, Canada, America, I kept asking children, do you have a P for success that works with you? So they would start giving me their own unique ones. And I collected 18. I still have them in my notebook. Prolific note taker. I only used 10 of them, and I have 7 of them in the book, 7 of the most important ones. And the P's of success never ever fails if you use it in the order that I've put it in, because that's the order where we learn to walk as children. And if that strategy did not work, you would not be walking. You wouldn't be doing a lot of skills that you have now. And the first one is preparation. If you look at a child when it's sitting on the floor, sitting in its nappy, it's maybe crawling a bit, but it hasn't gone up. It's not standing at the furniture. It's not moving around the furniture. So it's not mentally prepared for the walking. So the second P, the people, the experts, the parents, they will not approach the child to teach it how to walk until the preparation is there. How many times have you been pushed into things without the preparation, the mental preparation? It usually doesn't turn out the way that you wanted it to. So after the preparation's there and you have the right people around you, people who will support you and pick you up and help you along in life, then you have the practice. And that's what I said at the start of this. You need to practice what's in the book. There's no point just reading it. Practice is the only shortcut in life. You show me anybody that's number one at anything in life, I'll show you somebody who practices more than anybody else because they're persistent in their practice, because they associate pleasure to it. They enjoy it. And it's their pleasure with a lot of people, it turns to, these are the elite, it turns to an obsession. It's like, it becomes like an addiction. It feels so good to them. So they practice everybody. And you can see that in different walks in life. So that's how the book finished with the P's of success. I actually have a couple of posters on that. I didn't put them in the book. If anybody wanted one, if you send me a private message, then I can send you a PDF of the poster and you can keep it yourself just to go down. I'll always tell people that if you're not progressing the way you want to in life, go back and look at your P's of success. What are you leaving out? Have you lost the preparation? Have you get fed up with the practice? Have you lost patience with yourself? Maybe you're keeping company with the wrong people, or maybe you're not being persistent enough. Maybe you're giving up too easy. So if you go through that list, you're doing everything on the list, you should be progressing in the field that you want to. So that's it, really. It's a short book, as you can see. It's only 75 pages. I've left lots of spaces, and I say don't be frightened of, it wasn't designed as a book to look nice on your cabinet. Mind map it, scribble on it, highlight it, read it that much that the pages wear away. Well, that's a bit on the book. Has anybody any questions for me on anything that I covered there, or any of the exercises that you want to ask me about?
No.
I've just come in late, Sean. Actually, I drove from the University of Notre Dame in the United States all the way to Toronto, Canada today. So I got your notice en route. And I thought I'd be here for 4 o'clock our time. And I literally ran in the door with my laptop. But can you buy your book in Canada?
Yes.
I was looking on Amazon. I couldn't see it.
Yes, it's on. There's not that many different Amazons, because I have a friend in Brisbane in Australia, and he kept getting, I don't know what Amazon he was on, but it was saying it was sold out, but it's not.
Yeah.
Keep printing them, but he eventually got it.
Okay.
My daughter.
Okay, I'll check again. I've been away for a few days. Maybe it came up while I was away. I don't know.
I don't know now, but this is all recorded anyway, Anne. So you'll be able to watch, because we just finished theirs. You just come on.
I know. I'm so sorry.
I just finished talking about the book, but I have it recorded anyway, because a lot of people was asking me to record it. So has anybody any questions on the process itself, or any of the exercises that followed?
Yes, Sean, just on the actual process itself, how do you know, I suppose you'll know when you're getting somewhere, but how do you make sure you're doing it right? Is basically what I'm asking. How do you make sure you maintain concentration when you're doing it?
The feelings they won't lie. the whole idea of this was to feel great, and you'll start to feel powerful. When you're actually, the first part of the program, when you close your eyes and you're analyzing the facts that I've put in the book, and I didn't put all the facts in about the human system, but if you're closing your eyes and you think about how this body is performing over 11 million functions per second, and if you think of that 11 million per second, close your eyes and imagine, try and even do that yourself. It's hard enough doing 3 things at once, especially as a man. I know all you women can do it.
No.
Multitask.
I'm not a multitask.
But when you do that, and what you're looking for is the feeling of, oh my God, that's powerful. And then you open your eyes and you look at your reflection again. Okay, you look at the body and imagine this mini universe that you're standing in. And then you close your eyes and you relive your walking, talking, feeding yourself, tying your laces, going to nursery school, primary school, riding a bike, swimming, soccer, all the skills that you've accumulated over your lifetime. Yeah, because the brain can work very quick, and that should start to put more strength in the system. Open your eyes and you look at it again. Think that's the resources that this phenomenal machine does. And you're getting the then that's your feedback of like, my God, this is powerful. That means I'm powerful, because that's me. That is my body. That are the resources. That's the resources that has accumulated. And then you'll go in and you look for the feelings. Where are the feelings? What's the vibration? Where does this feeling of power, self-belief, self-value, where does it house itself in my physical body? Could I give it a color? Could I give it a sound? If it had to have a sound, what sound would it actually make? And then you affirm it. So if you're starting to feel tall, and if your posture feels good, I'm feeling really strong and stable here, that's because I am strong and stable. That's because I am Sean Connolly. That is me. So you affirm it all with your name. So that starts to magnify it. When you feelings and you bring sound in, you magnify them. Okay, and that's how you'll know. And then with this daily programming on a subconscious level, you'll start to notice that you react different to people, to places, your own reflection. You might feel calmer, you might feel more stable. That's how you know, Ryan, is the feelings begin to change. It's having that emotional intelligence, because the unconscious is a feeling mind. And you're not telling lies. When you look at the reflection and you're analyzing these facts, you're not making it up. But it's just things we take for granted. We don't take the time out to actually analyze these and familiarize ourselves with these feelings that belong to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Well, because I don't have the book and because I missed your whole presentation, I apologize.
That's a good start on.
My son is a NCAA Division I athlete.
Okay.
And he's a runner, and he's in his final year. Just had the conference championship on Friday. That's why I was at the University of Notre Dame. And so I hope I can be personal here. Should I talk to you privately about this, or is it okay to share this, ask you a question that's personal?
It's up to you.
I'm just more wondering if there's anything in your book that could benefit him. I discovered that I was suggesting he visualize himself coming first. Yeah, maybe I don't want
that's what there's visualization in the book. He has to design who he wants to be, what his outcome, what he wants to be like in the future. That has to be all done first, and then he has to visualize it, and then he has to actually step in and become that individual, which again the unconscious doesn't know that you can't do that. That's something I just call them step-ins. I've been doing them for years, 20 odd years with dancers, and it lifts their performance. This is stuff we've done as children, but we forget to do it as we get older, and I call it waking hypnosis. I do a lot of it before I take people into deeper hypnosis. Some people don't even need the deep stuff. Athletes, athletes can use this stuff. And again, with practice, the likes of the Stepman, I've seen people doing phenomenal things with it, especially when I was in Asia. People had been practicing it for maybe 60 years, could control their circulation, their heart rate. But again, it's all self-programming. But when we're not doing that, we usually carrying it on at some level in a negative way, where we're putting limits on ourselves, we're putting ourselves down in some way, or we're letting circumstances or other people put us down non-verbally, which is even stronger, you know. So it would help them. But with your son and with any athlete, and I've been doing it for years, I can go in and smash strength and endurance records on a day, and it doesn't matter what level they're at. Even if they're a world champion, it doesn't matter, because I know they're not tapping into certain aspects of the mind, and the likes of these exercises are a gateway into that. So it's like just turning up the nervous system. I can't give them the practice. That's their practice, but I can enhance what's driving it.
Yeah, that the practice is not,
I just show them how to do it. It's them doing it.
it's his mindset. It's entirely his mindset right now for some reason. And so when you asked about long-term goal, he's not going back to school next year for med school. He's actually going to take off 2 years to train for the Olympics. He's been on Team Canada 3 times, so it's not.
If he gives me a call, I can talk to him on this here, and then give him some exercises to do, and then he'll come back to me with the feedback after his track work, because the proof of the pudding's in the eating.
I know what you've done with dancers. I remember how they didn't dance well, and then with what you told them to do, and with what was going on around them.
Dancer, I'll measure their 2-foot jump, which is the basic measurement for leg power, and my job's to go in and smash that. And Peter was up with me in Belfast. We took some boxers, Ulster boxers, and most of them in their 2-foot jump, after the first part of the exercise, they put between a half a foot and a full foot on their 2-foot jump.
Wow.
And that's just by switching up the nervous system. If it's an Olympic lifter, he has to be lifting more weight than before I went in. I measure their max, and then my job is to break it. So it doesn't matter who they are. I'm only working with their nervous system. The effort in, they put the practice in. So it's finely tuning it and making sure that there's nothing going to suppress it on the day, because there's so many external suppressors, especially on an elite level, and they're not even aware it's going on, because it's going on a subconscious level. So it's making them aware of it and giving them something to counter that, so it doesn't happen.
And one other thing, can I talk to you after this? I have a thought about your book and someone who might be able to promote it in the States.
Oh, very good.
Just to his members. Pardon me?
I'm not very good at promoting things, so that's good.
Well, I want to give you a suggestion. I don't know if it'll come to, he's an Irish chap in the States who has a large membership, and when he recommends things, people buy it. So.
Yeah, but as we were just saying earlier before you come on, it's a book that every school child should have, even if they're not doing sport, because, you know, why shouldn't we feel like a champion? Who says we'll have to be a champion to feel like one? Isn't that what we all want anyway? That's why a lot of people put their kids in this sport, even and want them to do well, because they believe, well, if they become a champion, they're going to feel like one. But I've worked with so many champions who don't feel like champions. I think the first one of the most famous champions to come out and say that was Tyson Fury, the heavyweight champion. When he won his world title, he says, well, where's the feeling that goes with it? I thought I would feel, I've trained my whole life for this, and I don't feel any different. So it's something we should all have the ability to do, and to be teaching children how to do it, because it's a great solution to the problem of mental health deterioration in every country in the world, especially in youth.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, anybody else, any queries or questions on any of the exercises?
No, not yet.
No? You okay with it? Jerry, you okay? Yep. Lauren, yeah? Is everybody still there? Did you just leave your Zoom on? And go have a
Yeah,
cup of
I'm
tea? Yeah.
No, I'm okay. I've only started reading it, Sean, so I haven't got round to practicing it, but I'm looking forward to seeing a shift
Yeah.
in me. I was recently diagnosed with functional neurological disorder, so my nervous system always feels like it's in overdrive.
Okay.
So I'm hoping this is going to shift somewhere along the line. So
As I say, the proof of the pudding's in the eating. Just practice the action. Read it all first and then go back and then go through
back.
the exercises.
brilliant, brilliant. I'm looking forward to it.
What about you, Peter? Okay. You're on mute, I think. That's
The
you.
ones I'm working with now at the minute, I recommend it to them as well. They start looking in the mirror and keep powering up, and they're getting great results from it. So
Peter works as a counsellor for local doctors. Yeah.
but it
And
gets great results. No, just by that in itself.
Yeah, it's quick. It's
Aye.
people, especially when people's in a dark place or in a bad state. They don't want a long drawn out process. It's just get in there, change it, and then they can start to see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. That's what we're all trying to change anyway, as therapists and coaches, is change how people feel.
So do you recommend that book, Sean, for young people as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All my books are written very simple.
That's what I liked about it. Yeah, take the jargon out.
And they're small, and so because again, especially if you're suffering anxiety and you lift a big book, you don't want to. It's like, oh, you don't have time to read it. So if it's simple, and you'll keep going over it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Good Christmas box for people.
I have to. My next step is to get it on as an audio book and on the Audible.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be very good.
For people like myself, I just listen to books when I'm driving now. I can't read them fast enough. Yeah.
So thank you, Sean. I'm going to have to scoot. So I really enjoyed that. And
that's us now anyway. Okay, I'll say I have this on recorded anyway, so I'll be sending them out if you just want a copy, and I'll send you a copy anyway for what we covered there.
Perfect.
Sean, can we stay on and but you cut the recording?
Yeah. Yes, no problem. Yep. Okay, everybody.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks very much, Sean.
See you soon. All right, bye-bye.
Cheers. God bless. Bye-bye.